Globalization refers to the integration between different countries and economies and the increased impact of international influences on all aspects of life and economic activity. Globalization is able to form links around the world, uniting different economies and countries to form what is known as a global economy. A global economy reflects on this linkage in which a single economy can have the potential to influence other economies connected. Brazil is one of many countries that have been affected by globalization. Government decisions to completely restructure Brazil's economy have saved it from crumbling. Brazil's economic integration with other countries, along with the implementation of free trade, ensured its necessity for economic growth and development. However, repercussions took place in environmental sustainability. Brazil has earned the name of one of the most infamous growing economies in the world. However, during the early 90s, the economy was a mess. Under poor government management and inappropriate use of fiscal and monetary policies, Brazil had succumbed to multiple troubling issues. Brazil's economy had suffered from poor levels of health, education, and income. In 1980, it was recorded that the country's life expectancy was at 63 years old and the infant mortality rate was at 67,000 live births. Such low levels indicated poor quality of life within the economy. Among this fact, it is recorded that the school enrollment for children 15 to 17 was at a startling 49.7%. This had meant that the total workforce was compromised with less experienced labor. Such had restricted the amount of high-profile jobs within the economy. During this time period, Brazil utilized an internal-based economic strategy. This had meant that high tariffs and subsidies were used to help domestic businesses. As a result, the economy was experiencing low levels of growth, yet a moderate unemployment rate of 4.3% in 1990. This, however, was only temporary. Inflation at this point was at staggering levels, based off past crises and poor implementation of policies by the government. Inflation rates got to the point of above 3,000%. This is also known as hyperinflation. Due to such high rates, business owners had to continuously adjust prices on goods each day. Brazil's high inflation had impacted the cost and social living of the people. In order to improve both economic growth and economic development, the Brazilian government had to alter its perspective on supporting its economy. The economy's initial steps were to alter its position on trade internationally. In the late 1990s, Brazil adopted a more externally based economic strategy. This strategy focused on considerable reductions of protection within its industries. It was noted that between 1990 and 2010, tariffs fell drastically from 32.3% to 7.6%. Along with this, a complete eradication of import quotas had taken place. The concentration on a free trade environment increased Brazil's economic integration. As a result, foreign direct investment was attracted, in which transnational corporations entered the economy to utilize Brazil's resources and cheaper labor. Such increased gross domestic product and decreased unemployment rates. In 2003, the unemployment rate was at 11.1%, and by 2012 it had decreased to 7.4%. The real GDP in 2003 was recorded at 1.1%, and by 2012 increased to 1.9%. Brazil's integration further provided higher rates of export growth within the economy. Exports had risen from 1990 at 5.9% to 2012 at 16%. The introduction of Brazil to the global trade market has improved its international competitiveness and increased economic growth and development. In 1995, Brazil, along with Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay, and Venezuela, formed the Mercosur trading bloc. This trading bloc increased Brazil's export flows up to 16% of trade in the South American region. This increase had further introduced Brazil to more open trades. In order to sustain economic growth, Brazil had been utilizing macroeconomic policies, both fiscal and monetary, to survive the fluctuations in the international business cycle. These policies utilize an inflation target as a guide for monetary policy and to be able to sustain fiscal surpluses in which government income exceeds expenditure. The Fiscal Responsibility Law was introduced in the year 2000 and was targeting the public debt in an attempt to boost economic development. With its introduction, Brazil has managed to achieve a 2.2% surplus of GDP, which has come close to its targeted goal of 3.1%. Overall, as a result, the fiscal surplus had drove investments into the economy and supported infrastructure, health, poverty, and education. Brazil's score of the Human Development Index over the years signifies the improvements made by such policy. In 1980, the HDI was 0.545, and in 2015, the HDI improved drastically at 0.75. Life expectancy was recorded at 74 years in 2013, along with the infant mortality rate being at a much lower 13,000 in 2012. Poverty was impacted, decreasing from 24.7% in 2001 to 8.7% in 2015. Such evidently indicated how such policy drastically improved economic development. Although globalization has brought upon many positives to Brazil, major negatives were brought to life as years passed. Brazil's higher rates of trade have increased the demand of its resources. As a result, deforestation, oil spills, farming, and mining have taken a drastic toll on Brazil's environment and have endangered multiple species. However, as Brazil continues to grow, an increase in awareness for the environment follows. The government has implemented deforestation policies to eradicate low practices. In conclusion, Brazil had outstanding numbers in economic growth thanks to globalization. The integration of multiple countries helped stimulate both growth and development. The introduction of the Fiscal Responsibility Law had targeted areas in human development, and as a result, the health and education of the people have greatly advanced. However, globalization has affected the country's environment. Implementing the right goals